about SpectraTone Red. For those of you who tried to get on the live streaming event, I apologize. I think I've pretty much given up trying to do that on YouTube. They have too many technical errors to make that happen. So I apologize, but hopefully you find this live event, and if you see it later, I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can about SpectraTone Red and the Back Your Kit campaign that's running right now, so that you guys can really understand what we're doing here and why you would want a SpectraTone Red and what's new about it, because this is very different from everything that I've ever created in the past, and it's kind of the beginning of the future for Harrelson trumpets, and hopefully for other manufacturers and other industries as well. So the first thing I want to really say is thank you. I think we're at around $20,000, and that's just in the first few hours of the launch. You know, most people did not get a notification about this until this morning, and I worded it in such a way that it wasn't obvious that this was the launch. And I did that because I want the people that are really paying attention to be able to grab the best deals, and we run out of them on every one of these campaigns. So this gives you guys a little better chance. If you haven't done so already, I would go to backyourkit.com, and when you go there, you can type in red, the color red, or SpectraTone, and you'll find the SpectraTone Red campaign. And I'm wearing the unofficial shirt for SpectraTone Red right now, which is kind of funny in a way, but that's something I just made for the launch. But essentially, we are going to have probably, I would guess, 200 or 300 people back this campaign, which is great. But the downside to that is if you don't get in the first 100 and some, as one of the first 100 plus backers, then you'll end up paying more. So I always mention that because so many people will come to me like a month from now and say, hey, I want to buy that, and we'll be sold out. The official launch for SpectraTone Red will not be until March of 2024. So you're looking at a few months away. And those of you who get in on it now, it's only going for 2 weeks on pre-orders, then you would have your mouthpiece before they're even offered to the public. So I just want to kind of mention that. All right, Mike, good to see you. Yeah, and I will talk about the rims. I will talk about the cup and the throat new component. I'll also talk about the hybrid bodies. I've had a lot of people say, what is a hybrid body and how can it be better or different, and what's the difference between stainless steel and titanium. So I'm going to cover all that stuff. I'm going to do it fairly quickly unless you guys ask me a lot of questions. So this is interactive. It's a question and answer session. Even though, like I said, the first one didn't go up for whatever reasons, so we probably lost a bunch of you. Hopefully you find this one and we can answer the questions. So let me grab SpectraTone Red. I'm actually going to grab these 3 mouthpieces right now and show you all 3. So the yellow, SpectraTone Yellow, was this one, which we launched 2 years ago in 2021. And that one ended, I think, on Christmas Day in 2021. And we sold, well, now we have sold, I don't really know how many. Many. Say over 500 SpectraTone Yellow, probably 1,000 maybe. And then SpectraTone Blue was also very successful, and that one was made out of red brass, which we still offer some red brass components from the SpectraTone Blue. We will offer those again next year once we get our new machines set up. And then SpectraTone Red actually doesn't look like this. And the reason it doesn't is because SpectraTone Red is in the pre-production stage right now. So the final body does not look like this. This is actually my handmade swirl body, but it is modular just like the others that we had in the series. And it's backwards compatible with all the 5mm components. So for those of you who have invested a little bit or even a lot into the 5mm system, everything is compatible. So you can take your 5mm rims and cups and throats and backboards and plug them into the new SpectraTone Red or the yellow or the blue. Somebody asked me, why don't you make yellow or blue SpectraTone mouthpieces anymore? Which kind of blew my mind, because we do. We sell them every day. They've been in production ever since they were introduced, so they are available. They're always available. Now, SpectraTone Red, even though this looks like a different body, and in all the turmoil, I didn't grab all the stuff I wanted to be able to show you, but I can show you the internal components of SpectraTone Red. So this is the body and throat section, and it's all one component. Those of you who are used to other SpectraTone mouthpieces in the 5mm series, you know these normally would come apart. Well, these don't. This is machined in all one piece. Now, there's an advantage to that. The advantage is, well, one, it's easier to assemble, like it saves a few seconds. And two, it costs a little less to produce this than to produce the two separate pieces. So we save on the cost. So on the initial release, we can reduce the price by a little more. But when they go public, then the price is the same as if you had a fixed or a modular cup and throat. What I'm saying is you're only going to save money on this new design of that segment. Really, if you're buying into SpectraTone Red during the campaign, this pre-launch. So that I designed all as one piece, primarily to save on production cost and time, so we could pass those savings on to you guys. And believe me, it really does make a huge difference in production. The people that are out there making 1 or 2 piece mouthpieces, they are, you know, I'm not saying they're not doing good work. I'm sure they are. Most of them are probably doing great work, but they are saving so much on production costs compared to a modular system. Since ours is fully modular, it costs more to make. It also costs more to prepare and finish all the parts, and to have an inventory of them, and to pull the correct parts and help you with them and ship them. All those things add up. And that's one of the reasons that SpectraTone is the most expensive mouthpiece out there. Now, with that said, if you get the SpectraTone Red and you want to make the cup and the throat modular, you won't be able to do that on this campaign. Sometime next year, probably about a year from now, we will have the cups and throats separately, but we're not planning on doing that anytime soon. So I just want you guys all to know that, full disclosure. You cannot change the throat on this. If you want to buy a second throat that's a special size, you need to buy this whole segment, and then I will make it the correct size for you when I produce it. All right. I saw a question pop up, and I don't want to miss too many of those. All right, I'm a mouthpiece switcher, different mouthpiece for lead and legit. Very different from each other. Could SpectraTone Red replace both of those mouthpieces by giving me what I need for lead, but still giving me good section sound for orchestra and winds? The answer is yes, maybe. I'll say yes if the tonal qualities are what you're looking for, and if you're not really changing the rim too much. You can change the rim on SpectraTone Red, and there's no reason you can't. So if you wanted a different profile that gives you more flexibility for, say, symphonic winds or something, then you could always put that rim on there. And then if you want to switch to maybe a wider rim that has more surface area on it, I don't mean wider, I mean a rim that a more cushion rim that has more flatness to it or more surface area, so it doesn't indent into your lips as much for like lead work or something like that. You could switch the rims. The sound is going to be pretty much exactly the same. And you can also change the backbore, which can really have a huge influence on the tonal quality as well. You would not be able to change the throat separately or the cup depth because that's all fixed. However, I will say this, I think you could actually use it in both situations as long as you're not trying to sound really big and dark. It is a fairly punchy, brighter mouthpiece. Let me grab a horn. Let me grab some gloves so I can pick up a horn. And there are quite a few videos demonstrating SpectraTone Red right here in the showroom. Those are the Rumors and Dreams videos. So we sold maybe 50 or so pre-orders of Rumors and Dreams in October and November. And we still have a few available if you guys are looking for a new horn. And let me grab one of them. Here's a Dreams trumpet. And those videos where I promoted these horns, do demonstrate SpectraTone Red and yellow and blue. And you can hear what really it's going to sound like in longer videos and longer snippets than what I'm going to do right now. That is SpectraTone Red, even though, like I said, the body does not represent what you're going to see on SpectraTone Red. And I'll grab one of the correct bodies here in a minute. But you can hear I can get all the way down to that low G and it's big and fat. That happens on this mouthpiece that literally is not really deep, and it's not designed to be a big broad mouthpiece. It's designed to be kind of a hybrid between lead and everything else, but the idea is it makes it easier for you to have a punchy, forceful attack if you want it, and I didn't push it there, and it also makes the upper register a lot easier. So now I can peel the paint off the walls, and it's actually a good idea right now because my ear needs to pop, so maybe I can do that. So it's pretty easy to play in the upper register and still punch it if you want to. Now, I'm not normally a loud lead player. I used to do that years ago. I tend to play with more finesse in the upper register, and for me, I don't necessarily want to play punchy and loud all the time. And you can do that on this mouthpiece as well. All right, you'd love to hear it on the roomers. I've got a roomers right here. This roomers is the 1GLT bell, and remember it's got a 440 choke, so it's a lot brighter. Yeah, definitely. My ear popped. That's awesome. Yeah, that took care of it. It's definitely brighter. It's very punchy, and roomers is just it's a lead horn. Yeah, it can be a laser beam. So that is roomers on SpectraTone Red. Let me grab the brass body so you can see how that looks on this mouthpiece. So if you're backing this, if you're pledging on backer kit, that is the body that you'll get if you pledge for brass. And it's a fairly lightweight body. I'm just going to take the components out of my personal mouthpiece and put them in this one. And you can see they go in there nice and easy. And I just have to have enough hands to try to do it on camera. I'll put my back bore in. And even though my nut is not the correct nut, you can see my nut fits on there too, the one that was on this mouthpiece. So you will get a nut with all of the variations of SpectraTone Red. Hey Carrie, good to see you. Essentially it would look just like this with a nut on the end. And this is our C2 body, which I developed years ago specifically for lead. And some of you may even own this body already. There was no reason to develop a new brass body for SpectraTone Red in brass, but in the other materials, that's where the real advances come from. And that is what I was talking about at the beginning of this video, using topology design and lattice structures and additive manufacturing. We are now creating things we could only dream of just a few years ago. Really even like a year ago, we couldn't have done any of this stuff. And that's because the technology has evolved and the prices have started to come down. They haven't come down very much, but it used to be that it was like $50,000 to $100,000 for the software that could create SpectraTone Red. And that hasn't really changed at all, except that now instead of buying the software up front, we lease it by the year, but it still adds up to like $100,000 if we continue the lease. It's very expensive software. That software is going to be used to generate entirely new structures for the entire trumpet. And not just that, for other products like our momentum spinning tops. And we've got a lot of other products we'll be releasing that will use this new lattice topology generative genre of design. And all those things I just said are actually words that describe thousands of different things. So it's huge what we can do. And all of you who are backing SpectraTone will have a say in what the final design will be for the hybrid models, the stainless steel and the titanium. And you've seen some renderings. I'm going to put out some videos. Probably tomorrow I'll put out a video showing a full three-dimensional rendering of the first iteration, or the first version I'm showing you guys. Is not really the first iteration at all, but the one that I'm going to show you guys. And I'll start showing you guys how I designed it and a little bit about how that software works and all the process required to get it from a pencil sketch to actually in my hands. It's a very long, complicated process. It's much harder to do than CNC machining, except CNC machining can't even produce these structures, so then it's the only way you can do it. So with that said, I will show you how all that works in a future video, probably tomorrow, and or you'll see it tomorrow or Saturday, whenever it goes up on YouTube. And then you'll have a better idea of how and why I'm designing these things and which materials we're experimenting with and why. And what I'd love to do is be able to mix materials on instruments and on mouthpieces so that we can create just really amazing aesthetic designs as well as structural integrity designs that improve efficiency, reduce weight, are more ergonomic, in other words, easier to hold and to work with your body, and also can be within the variable performance system. In other words, within our system, if they can work that way, and we have to find ways to make all those things happen so that you can then continue to have all of the variety that you used to with Harrelson. Because some of you don't play on Harrelson equipment, and then you probably have no idea what you're missing. Like the people that are playing on Harrelson equipment, you guys know that you can adjust the amount of airflow, the flexibility, the slotting, the resonance of the horn. You can balance the resonance with your oral cavity, and almost all of you have learned how to do that because we've worked on it, right? Because most of you have talked to me or Jen or Christine, or you visited and you took some lessons when you bought your horn, or whatever's happened. But you guys understand that the possibilities are limitless already with what we do just in brass. But by combining these other elements, these other alloys and materials and metals and even plastics and possibly even ceramics, we will take this system and expand it so that we can do a lot more with it. And one of the biggest things I want to do with it is create different tonal profiles that haven't been possible with CNC machining, either because it's too expensive or too difficult. And then also expand upon the Muse system so that we can lighten it up and make it as light as maybe a Bach trumpet, but have the full modularity that we have now. And then take our other trumpets like the Summit, which is going to evolve to the Summit G4 in February. That horn is using this topology, lattice, structural design technology to essentially make that horn much lighter and more efficient than it's ever been. The downside to all of that is it's very difficult to do, takes a lot of time, and the price does go up. The upside is your instruments are going to get lighter and more versatile. And I'll tell you, one of the most difficult challenges in all of this is to make whatever we use additive machining to do, make it fit machine parts. Because additive manufacturing is essentially metal printing. And I could go into detail on all the different types of metal printing, or at least a bunch of them, but essentially there's some kind of usually laser beam or electron beam that is melting powder into the parts and it's building it. Similar to FDM printers that you're used to seeing, except from powder instead of filament. And this is a process that's actually been around for decades. It's just been more and more refined in the last 5 to 10 years. It's become a lot better. So with all that said, you guys are saying, what's the difference between stainless steel and titanium? Well, stainless steel is hypoallergenic. We're using 316L, which means the L means low carbon content, which isn't really important to you guys, except that it's going to really be resistant to corrosion, and it's going to be very strong and very durable. This material is the type of material where you can literally drop your mouthpiece and it's not going to dent or break. It might have a little ding on it, maybe, depends on what it landed on. But also it's really cool, and it's going to use a lattice structure in what I'm calling fins. So there are 5 fins that I've designed into SpectraTone Red right now. And the difference between the stainless steel and the titanium is the material. So a lot of people have said, well, I need to know the difference. What is the difference? The difference is the material. That's it. The structural integrity is pretty much the same. The efficiency is exactly the same between these two mouthpieces. The only difference is the titanium is 45% lighter. It uses the exact same amount of material, and structural design is exactly the same. It's just in a different material. So it's 45% lighter just in the parts that are additive manufactured. So that sleeve that you see in the renderings, that part is made of nylon and also stainless steel. And essentially, you'll see this in a few days. I'm still waiting for the last set of prints to come back to me, so we can show you how this works. But those two parts kind of slide together, and then the nut holds it together so that the entire body is fixed. It's actually a brass body that's machined to fit perfectly inside the titanium or stainless steel outer body, and they're a perfect fit. And once those are put together, the nylon slips over top of that outer body, and it creates the contrast. And then we could have just left it stainless or titanium, but we added that contrast for a couple reasons, but mainly for aesthetics. And then the nut would squeeze it all together. It's just then done. It's a modular mouthpiece like any other. And you know, I'm not sure if you'll be able to disassemble all those parts on the final product or not. But as you follow along and as we do more of these videos, you will learn how all that's going to work. Theoretically, you may be able to take all those parts apart and then buy other parts and combine them and reuse these in different configurations in the future on other mouthpieces. So with all that said, the difference between titanium and stainless steel. I'll say this, stainless steel is really cool. Titanium's even cooler. There are 2 techniques that I'm going to experiment with, and this could probably interest some of you. One is essentially flame color treating, which is where I take a torch and I just heat up the stainless steel version and create a color profile, or maybe even one solid color, by heating it to a certain temperature. But doing rainbows is more fun. And this is something that I've done like on pocket knives and other things that I've made out of stainless steel. And essentially, when you flame it, you can create these subtle colors within the metal itself. I don't know if I'll actually offer any of that anytime soon or even ever, but that's something I'm going to experiment with. I'll show you guys what happens. On titanium, I should be able to anodize it using an electrical process. So we have an anodizing tank here, and we should be able to take the printed parts and anodize them to different colors, and that could be really cool on the titanium side. Another part of titanium that we're exploring in the future is coloring the titanium parts with a laser, and that's a whole nother process that you may see in the coming months or sometime next year. So titanium, I guess, would be in the super cool factor side of things. If you're thinking of titanium, I would definitely back it now, because the price will go up after we sell the first 25. For all I know, maybe we sold the first 25. I haven't even looked. But after that first 25, then the price is going to go up, and we'll release another 25. And it'd be kind of cool if we could sell 100 titanium bodies, simply because if we did that, then the price does come down a little bit. And right now, at this rate, because it's so expensive to print titanium, I'm only making a couple dollars on the price that you see there. So it's literally almost $100 extra. between stainless and titanium just to have the different material. So I'm not going to really make any money on that until they go to retail pricing in March. And the retail pricing on the titanium ones, it looks like it's probably going to be around $600. And I think it's going to be worth every penny in terms of the value, because what you see and what you're going to hold is so incredibly impressive. And like I said, I forgot to bring over some of the other additive manufactured parts that we have. We've got a whole bunch, but I'll bring them in the next video so you can see me, well, you get to see me hold them. But once you back this and you get it, in February, you'll be able to hold them as well. So, all right, somebody just said, to be sure, do you still have to back up if you ordered a SpectraTone Red with rumors? No. If you were one of the lucky people who ordered through rumors and dreams, then if you're happy with this brass system, that brass body, the C2 body, then you have to do nothing. Now, if you want the stainless steel or the titanium version, you just pay the difference. But you guys got this deal already, and so you don't really need to do anything unless you want to upgrade to the new body. And if you do, just send us an email. Christine and I will be sending out an email that basically says, hey, if you want the stainless steel or the titanium bodies, then let us know. It will delay your order just a little bit because those are not done. The brass bodies, we've got a bunch of them done, and we can ship those with your horn. So, all right, other questions? Yeah, if you like the standard C2 body, then you're fine. Oh, here are some more questions. Is it a laser sintering process? Are the fins like the holes designed in the Summit 1 bracing? And to be safe, and would it be safe to ultrasonic clean, ultrasonic, or SpectraTone Red? Okay, good questions. So, no, the holes are nothing like the Summit 1 series. If it were that simple, I wouldn't have needed all this software. The holes through the fins are actually a lattice structure, and that lattice structure is something I'll get into in the next video that won't be a live video. I'll produce it because I need to be in front of my computer and take a lot of video of me in the software so you can see what's going on. But essentially, this lattice structure is what is designed and used in aerospace parts, also in medical, the medical industry. Let's say you shattered one of your bones in your arm or your leg or your skull, then the software we use is the same software that is used by the technicians that will reconstruct your skull and then make a porous type of lattice structure that's the shape of your skull and make it fit back into your head. It sounds crazy, right? And then it would be printed out of something like titanium, and then it would be implanted, and your body can actually grow through this lattice structure and strengthen it, and it can become one with your body again. That is the type of lattice structure we're talking about. And you probably haven't seen any of these aerospace parts I'm talking about. But if you go to the Backer Kit page and you look at the aerospace, a couple of the photos I've taken of actual aerospace parts in my hands, then you can see. And I've been studying this software and this technology for many years, but the software itself wasn't really available to someone like me until about a year ago. And we just subscribed to it in February of this year. And it literally costs as much as a car to lease it per year. So it's very expensive, but it's very powerful. I have been working as hard as I can this year to understand how to utilize the software and incorporate it in our designs. And SpectraTone Red is the first trumpet design that's getting this. It's really cool because it's actually the first musical instrument design that I know of in the whole world that will ever use these types of technologies. I know people have like 3D printed mutes on an FDM printer and things like that. I'm kind of throwing that out there as like that's completely irrelevant. It's nothing like what we're doing. I'm not belittling people who do that. Good job if you guys are doing that and you're working on it. But what we're doing is on a completely different level. This is literally in the same realm as designing aerospace parts. And to wrap my head around all the things I've been learning has been a challenge for sure. So to answer the other questions you had, yes, you can put it in an ultrasonic cleaner. That should be no problem at all. The parts are going to have not the same density as solid titanium, but actually very close. It can be a laser sintering process, so I've talked about laser sintering a lot. And I've used the words laser sintering in quite a few videos, but that hasn't been completely accurate because sometimes it's SLM, which is selective laser melting, and sometimes it's SLS, which is selective laser sintering, and sometimes it's DMLS, and there's all these different variations of melting powder into parts. So I'll just say this, it's additive manufacturing in the metal realm, because I can't guarantee which process we're going to use until I've prototyped on different machines, and that's what I'm doing right now. So the majority of what we're doing right now on this launch is one, gauging how much interest there is in the additive side. I can say this for certain, after just a few hours of having this campaign launched, we've almost sold out of the first batch of titanium and stainless steel, and that tells me yes, it's going to be successful. Because we've got brass, stainless, and additive, titanium, the two additive processes. And we've sold kind of equal amounts of all three, which means additive is 2/3 of what we're selling in this campaign already. And that means there's a lot of interest. And there should be, because the reality is if you're choosing the brass one because it's the best price, go for it. That's perfectly fine. But at some point, you're probably going to want to buy an additive body, because they are going to be lighter, more efficient. Also, there's just an amazing cool factor here. And we won't really understand how better things are going to become until we've all had our hands on these things. I feel like I have all these ideas and I try all these new things and I'm the only one that knows about it, sometimes for years. And now I get to share it with you guys. So I'm really excited to share this with you. Yeah, and the Summit one, that was a good question. It isn't just holes through it. So the lattice structure is not just any old structure. You can imagine it's kind of like this. Instead of having a solid piece, we have like a lattice, and we can design different lattice structures to perform different types of outcomes. And essentially, I'm experimenting with several different lattice structures, and you guys will get to vote on them. And I'll help you understand why one might be better than the other, so you guys are voting with real information. Okay. Oh, okay, so you said you did order our rumors but didn't do the SpectraTone Red. Okay, yeah, and the price hasn't changed, so you're not losing out. I just gave all of the Rumors and Dreams people the first shot at SpectraTone Red, especially in the brass. You guys will start getting them, probably in a week or so, depending on where you are on the build list. All right, let's see. If I decide to get the brass body with Rumors trumpet, could I pay for the titanium body and when it arrives? Yes, you can. So if you want the brass body just the way it is, and you want to buy the titanium body separately and have two bodies, yes, you will be able to do that. I do not have pricing on that yet, and the pricing will be determined by how many we sell in the entire campaign. Like I said, if I sell enough, the price starts to come down a little bit. But the price is never going to come down low because titanium is expensive. The stainless steel ones can come down a lot more. So yeah, I will offer some pricing options and give you guys that option. You will see in March when we release SpectraTone Red to the public. For anyone who didn't buy Rumors and Dreams and did not back this campaign, those other people, which is millions of people, will then have the opportunity to buy SpectraTone Red. And at that time, you will be able to buy the bodies separately. You'll also be able to buy the throat and cup combination section separately at some point as well. I'm not sure when, but we will release all those different items. So what is the musical difference between the brass and the SS and titanium body and weight? There is no musical difference. The only difference is efficiency. So in terms of the internal structures, like the internal design of the mouthpiece, it's the same for all of them. The only difference is the bodies are more or less efficient or more or less in weight. So titanium is the most efficient and the lightest weight. Stainless steel is the exact same efficiency, only it weighs more, so like twice as much as titanium. And then the brass one is the least efficient, and I don't know for sure how much difference in weight there is between the brass, the titanium, and the stainless steel overall. And that's because I don't actually have the process, the design finished, and we won't have it finished until you guys vote on that. So, because we'll vote on at least 3 different variations. Is there a way to get this in the EU? Yes, you just go on backerkit.com and you can pledge on BackerKit, and we ship to every country that we're allowed to. The only ones I can think of right now that we can't ship to are Russia, Iran. There's probably there's obviously other ones, but we ship to most countries. So anywhere in the EU, we ship almost every day to the EU. Let's see, the other question I was going to answer for you guys. Oh, rims, that's what it was. So in the beginning, someone said, it was Mike, he was asking about the rim profiles. Well, I'll just show you this one. This is my personal rim that I designed for myself many years ago. And you can see it's quite round on the inside, but it actually still has quite a bit of surface area on it overall. And this is the newest rim that we are offering. It's called the H rim. It's the H series, which is essentially the Harrelson version. And the reason it's H series is because it's mine. So the first ones that we ever made had JH on them because they were just for me. And over the years, we had people accidentally try them in the shop, and quite a few people ordered my rim. But I only offered it in my diameter. Now, a couple months ago, I did a rim production run, and I made every diameter in my rim shape. And the reason I had a more, I say rounded, but a larger inner radius on the inside where the cup is, the reason I had that slide into the cup that way was because it actually feels a little bigger when you do that, because the high point is wider, but then it also lets your lips move more easily, so you can have more flexibility, and in my opinion, more control. However, what I found is most people gravitate towards these rims that are fairly flat. And when I play those, and when a lot of my students and colleagues play on them, the thing that I hear and see again and again is they don't have the same flexibility as when you play on one of these. And I've demonstrated it many times. Essentially with this, I can slide 4 octaves seamlessly. And with those flat rims, I can do 2.5, 3, and I have to work pretty hard to do it. So that's the big difference. I would say this is perfectly suitable for people that are working with a high point on your teeth. And if you don't know more about that, or if you want to know more about it, then I would look up one of my videos on high points. Other questions? So yes, they're available to every continent. Thank you, I appreciate that. Brass weighs 8.4 grams per cubic centimeter. Yeah, so brass is just barely heavier than stainless steel. That's, yeah, exactly. But I guess, you looked that up and you're sharing that, but it doesn't really relate to SpectraTone Red, because the amount of brass content in the brass body is going to be different than in the other 2 bodies. And then they have other variables like nylon and stainless steel and titanium. So we won't know the overall weights until we're done. And this is a fairly light body, so I'm not entirely sure if we're going to save any weight on the stainless steel version or the titanium one, but we will gain efficiency. Other questions? So stainless steel, yes, that's true. Stainless steel is, I always think of it as almost the same weight or density as brass. But I think you might have missed what I just said. This contour is not going to be the same contour as the stainless steel hybrid version. So it'll actually have much less material than this. Hopefully that's making sense to you. Because they're different designs. So again, if this isn't all clear to you guys, you might want to go to the BackerKit website and go to SpectraTone Red, or you can find the link right on my website. It's the first thing you'll see. And then you can see renderings of the stainless steel and the titanium versions, and you can see the brass and see how they're different. If you go to the H rim, would you go to the same size as your normal SpectraTone? I would say yes, you probably should. Because if you want to experience that increase in flexibility, then you would definitely want to keep the rim diameter the same, and then you would feel that. If you change the rim diameter while you're changing to this other shape, if you go any bigger, it's going to feel very big. And if you go any smaller, it could be too small for you to produce the lowest notes. So Any plans on cornet variations? So this is a common misconception in SpectraTone and 5mm. There are no cornet variations of anything. We don't market mouthpieces. We don't try. All right, how do I say this? Our goal is not to sell you a new mouthpiece every time you want to change something. So I know in other companies they have like, usually one-piece mouthpieces, sometimes two-piece mouthpieces, and they want to sell you as many mouthpieces as possible. So they've got one for piccolo and E-flat and cornet and this and that. They've got every single thing. You just unscrew the back bore and you can put a cornet back bore in here. That's how we do that. And if you need a specialty back bore, let's say you play on a Monet, Prana, something mouthpiece, we have the back bores for every single make and model of instrument ever made in the whole world. They're all available. And you just change the back bore. Now, SpectraTone Red, when you pledge in backer kit, to keep the pricing down, I am making one whole batch of all the same back bore in the trumpet shank. If you want a cornet shank, you have to pay $30 extra to get the cornet shank, and you'll have a trumpet and a cornet shank. So then you can just screw it on and play it on your cornet. Okay, and yeah, so that maybe answer all your questions. Every single SpectraTone and 5mm we've ever made can be played on cornet. It can be played with any shank, even flugel. How is the H rim versus the X rim? The H rim, if you're playing on an X rim and you love it, then I would say it's worth giving a try, giving the H rim a try. But the X rim is very, very flat. And the difference you're going to find is it's going to be easier to slide around and find each individual pitch. On the X rim, you're definitely going to be locked in and your lips are going to be like stuck in one place a lot more than this rim. So I'm not saying that you wouldn't love this, you might, but it might not work for everything that you're using the X rim for. And I say that because a lot of people are using the X, Y, and Z rims for either high note playing or because their embouchure has some developmental challenges. Sometimes it's because you're getting started. Sometimes it's because something about your dental structure or your lips or your health is compromising how much pressure you can put on the mouthpiece. So, but I would say the H rim, I'm biased, but it's very comfortable. That's my favorite rim. That's why I designed it. So Scott, there are no real subtle differences in terms of making the mouthpiece fit the instrument, but SpectraTone Red was specifically designed to be punchy and bright and easy to play in the upper register. And if you don't want that kind of sound, I wouldn't put it on your cornet. But if you do, this is the perfect way to do that. It's just grab the cornet shank, put it in there, you're ready to go. We do make cornet sounding mouthpieces. If that's what you're looking for, look at this SpectraTone Blue. That one was specifically designed to really make your trumpet sound more like a cornet, or to sound like a big, broad, warm sounding trumpet. And we have much more suitable mouthpieces for pure brass band cornet playing, if that's what you're looking for. Then you would be in our H or even deeper series of mouthpieces, of cups. And just call us and we'll help you choose the right parts. Okay, so you have the standard rim and you have the X rim. Okay, yeah, the standard rim has a smaller radius on the inside of the rim. And what I mean by that is it's got a sharp drop from the top of the rim down into the cup. It's more like a point than round. And that can mess with some people. And I'm one of those people. Like, I don't like that shape at all because I feel like it holds my lips really close together, and it also always makes my mouthpiece feel too small. So this kind of a rim, originally this was based on a 2C rim, and by changing the contours and adjusting things, it still feels like a 2C rim, but now it's actually smaller, technically, and I can still get that really big, broad 2C sound and flexibility without having to play on a rim that makes me tired all the time. So, and I did develop this when I first started making rims, a very long time ago. I don't know when that was. Okay, any other questions? I do have to wrap it up. I want to thank you guys for watching today. This will be posted on the backer kit page, and if you're even considering backing, then I would do it now, because the price will go up as we sell out of the first batch. Well, you'll see that there's a limited number of each one, and once those are all filled up, then we'll release another of each, and the price will be higher. And that's really to reward you, the early backers, and it's not really to penalize anybody, but we do have to make money, and this technology is much more expensive than what the campaign is going to bring in. So for us, it's more of an R&D and innovation effort, and a way to get this new technology in your hands than anything else. Okay, so let's see. There's another question. What does the special body do for the Red do for the sound? Okay, you'll have to go back in the video and watch, and because I've already answered that. I don't want to go through it all again. Can you order the H-Rim now? Yes. I believe that we have probably around 50 in stock. So you can order it right now. So Carrie, you order a lot of stuff from us all the time. Just give Christine a call. We do have it. Yeah, sorry, Brent. I am running out of time, and I know a lot of people already heard all of that. But if you go back in the video, you will hear, the real nitty-gritty details of all the differences between brass, stainless, and titanium. All right, guys, thank you. I'm gonna have to call it simply because I don't like these videos to be so long that people can't find the information and the answers they're looking for. It's already pretty long. Thank you so much. If you can think of anyone that could benefit from having a SpectraTone Red, or in other words, a mouthpiece that's more comfortable to play in all registers, and maybe even gives you a few more notes in the upper register, and is perfect for pops or lead. It also can work for symphonic band and big band, all those types of music. It's just not going to work for dark jazz combo or Mahler. But if you can think of someone who could really benefit from one of these, please share the link. We had 50 people, 50 pro players, playtest SpectraTone Red, and I will be releasing more and more of the video clips and full clips of those people and their feedback and experience with SpectraTone Red, so you guys can learn from that as well. And man, a whole bunch of questions popped up. Let me just look real quick. Okay, Scott, you're asking me, my legit mouthpiece rim is a 3C with more cushion. Is this radically different? The H rim is going to be different, yes. It'll give you more flexibility. The other Scott, got two Scotts here. You already pledged. Okay, awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait for you guys to have these in your hands and play them. And like I was just saying, a lot of the people that demoed the SpectraTone Red, the pro players that were like, hey, I want to try it and give feedback, a lot of them bought it. They just called me and they were like, hey, can I just buy this mouthpiece? So we already have a whole bunch out in the wild. They're being performed on. Some of them are on international tours right now. And it was a shock to me that it was that much of a difference for quite a few people. But I do have to thank quite a few of you, and I can't name everyone, for working with me here in the showroom and in the shop, helping me develop SpectraTone Red. And one of those people is John Reed. And John Reed is a player with, I should say player, an amazing trumpet player with Casey and the Sunshine Band. And he has been playing a mouthpiece that had some special feature to it that we had never tried, and that helped shape the design of SpectraTone Red. This isn't a copy of his mouthpiece, but I did experiment quite a bit with the different things that I found in his mouthpiece that was custom made for him after generations of him trying different custom makers to create what he needed. And there are many other people I will be thanking as well. But I especially want to thank all of you for just being here, being a part of SpectraTone Red. This is an amazing launch. I think we're already up to $20,000. It was very quick. And I'd love to see, every person who could benefit from an easier playing trumpet mouthpiece to get on this right now. And remember, you will be able to modify it because it's modular anytime down the road. All right, thank you guys again, and I will see you in the next video.